This mistress will complain that the maid waits for the clothes to pile up before washing them. The maid explains that she is doing the dishes first. And the mistress calls her useless and asks if she can't do the laundry and the dishes at the same time. The maid then says she'll do it. The woman tells her to hurry up and says she can't stand employees. They don't even realize they're being watched. Later, the maid approaches her mistress, explains that she made a cake for her, that she already washed all the clothes and the dishes too. That everything is clean and tidy in the house. The mistress says that the maid has nothing in her head, because she knows perfectly well that the mistress is on a diet, and she still gives her a cake. The maid apologizes, saying that she doesn't need her to stress or talk to her like that, promising that she will prepare something else for her. But the mistress says that she doesn't need to do anything, because she has lost her appetite, and calls her worthless before leaving the room. The boss, who was watching everything, goes after his wife and calls her as soon as they enter the room. He says that his wife is being too hard on the maid. But she says no, because people like her deserve this treatment, because she is a useless employee. The husband questions where is the woman he fell in love with, whom he had married. But the wife tells him to stop his dramas. Indignant, the husband says he no longer recognizes his wife. He wants to know where is the quiet, loving woman he knew. The money had changed her. Later, the maid is organizing her purse when the mistress yells at her, questioning what she thinks she is doing. The maid explains that she ordered that lunchbox and they sent it to the wrong address, but it's to send to her mother. The mistress asks if she thinks she's going out during her workday to bring food to her mother. And the employee says that she doesn't need to worry because she's not going out, and asked her son to come up and take the food to his mother, that the mistress can rest assured that he will not go out. Then the mistress says that she won't tolerate this kind of attitude, that she doesn't want her in the house anymore. She orders the maid to get her things and leave her house immediately, because she doesn't want her there anymore. The maid begins to beg them not to do this to her, because she is with her sick mother, and she knows she can't be without her job. Soon after, the boss enters the room and says that if his wife doesn't want the maid there anymore, she should leave. That the maid needs to understand that it's her wife's house, so if the owner doesn't want her in the house, she should leave. With no choices, the maid leaves the room, crying in despair, because she needs her job so badly. The wife is happy, saying that she could finally count on her husband for something. And the husband says that if a person doesn't learn from his mistakes, he has to leave the room. Later, while the husband is on his cell phone, the wife wonders what will become of them, since they are without a maid, and they must look for a replacement. The husband then reveals that they are out of money, that he has made all the settlement from the old maid, and they will need to go for a while without a diarist. The wife says that they can't do without a maid, wondering who will organize the household. The husband replies that it will be the wife herself, that it won't be difficult for her to take care of the house and her husband for a few days. She argues that she is not a wife for these things, because she has to wash, iron and cook. The husband says that he can't stay with an incompetent person in the house, and wonders if it is so difficult to take care of him for 2 days. The wife doesn't understand why it has to be her. And the husband says that it was the wife who wanted to dismiss the maid, and that it is not difficult to take care of her own husband. In the kitchen, she thinks that it must not be difficult to take care of her husband for 2 days, and she will prove it. But she doesn't even know how to handle the knives that are used to cut food, and ends up hurting her finger for it. Moments later, she returns with a plate of food from her husband, saying that she prepared everything with much love and care. And he thanks her for the food. While his wife watches him, he starts to drink. He questions what it is, because the coffee is horrible, and he doesn't drink coffee without sugar. Then he gets ready to try the food, and is disgusted when he realizes that his wife didn't even cut the tomatoes. She is upset, because she thought her husband would like it, because the dish is very colorful, rich in nutrients. But he says that even a child can do that, and refuses to eat that food. Later, she is doing the dishes, when her husband throws some clothes on the floor. She questions the reason for this. and her husband orders her to wash the clothes immediately. She tries to argue that she is doing the dishes at that moment, and that she cannot do two things at the same time. The husband complains about her not being able to do two things at the same time, and orders her to stop being useless. The wife questions why he is treating her this way, and talking this way to her. The wife wants to know what is going on with her husband. But he replies that nothing is going on, that he is talking to her this way, so that his wife will understand. But she doesn't understand him, that this is not him, and she doesn't recognize him. And that's the point the husband would like to make. He says that these are not his words, but his wife's words. He questions whether she remembers the way she treated the maid inside the house, so it's only fair that the husband should do the same. In the bedroom, she complains that she is tired from all that has happened, and lies in bed wondering what she must have done to deserve this. The husband comes into the room and apologizes to his wife, acknowledging that he was very rude to her. The wife says that he could at least help her do something, because this job is too heavy for her. She doesn't want to do it anymore. The husband understands that it is being hard for her, but at the same time they should learn something from it. First of all, he knows that it is hard for his wife. Secondly, they have learned that words hurt more than anything. So she agrees when she says that words hurt, and hurt a lot. To understand that words hurt, the wife had to go through the same situation as the maid, that the wife caused herself. The husband explains that he only did this to his wife so that she would feel what she made the maid feel. And the wife complains that he did all this to her, just to get revenge. But the husband denies this, saying that he would never want revenge, he just wanted her to experience some of the maid's experience. The woman doesn't know the reality of people, the maid is struggling at home, her mother is sick. And the wife still treated her badly the whole time. He hopes that the wife has learned her lesson, because it was very painful for him to treat his wife this way. The husband says that he will not hire another person for the house, because he still wants the old maid helping them in the house. She quickly agrees, saying that she wants the maid back, but she doesn't know if she will agree to come back to help her. And the husband replies yes, that the wife can calm down, because the maid is already in the house. She enters the room, and says that she agrees to work in the house again, and that she is willing to help in any way necessary. The wife still doesn't understand anything that's going on. And the husband begins to explain everything. When the maid was packing up her things to leave, the boss called her, saying that she could take a few days off. She doesn't understand how she can take a few days off. And the boss says he'll use this time to teach his wife a lesson. He gives the maid a little money, to use as she prefers, and enjoy the time off. The maid begs not to be fired, and says that's too much money. The woman then thanks him for everything, and leaves. Then the husband explains the whole story to his wife, and he hopes that she has learned that everyone needs to love and treat the people around them well. The wife begins to apologize to the maid, as she is a very important person to him. The maid says that she doesn't need to ask for forgiveness. Sometimes we have to go through certain situations in life to appreciate and learn. Sometimes it is necessary to lose something or someone, to give it its due value. Maybe many people can interpret as cruel of him to have done this to his wife, but it was extremely necessary for her to learn a lesson.